Hello there, Nightline begins now with me, Nadia Azmi. Let's take a look at the top stories. Vegetable shortage. LPP, FAMA urged to conduct immediate intervention. Also, systemic issues in healthcare services need to be resolved before increasing allocation. The Farmers Organisation Authority, LPP, and Federal Agricultural Marketing Authority, FAMA, have been urged to take immediate intervention measures to solve the shortage of vegetable supply. Agriculture and Food Security Minister Datuk Sri Mohammed Sabu said the measures are needed to increase and ensure the stability of vegetable supplies. In his Facebook posting on Saturday, Datuk Sri Mohammed said a national vegetable supply data system will be established to obtain real-time information, thus providing a long-term solution involving the supply situation of vegetables in the country. The minister also listed some of the information which can be obtained through the system, which will allow his ministry to provide prediction and preparation for any possibilities in regard to the vegetable supplies. He expressed belief that his ministry will have no issues in providing proper funds for the system to be established for the good of all. Previously, it was reported that prices of some vegetables and fruits have increased between 2 to 3 times compared to before the East monsoon season. Sultan of Johor, Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar on Saturday granted an audience with Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim at Sri Perdana on Saturday. This was announced on the ruler's official Facebook page, where it was stated that the Prime Minister had extended an invitation to Sultan Ibrahim for a meeting at his official residence in Putrajaya. During the meeting, Datuk Sri Anwar presented a briefing to Sultan Ibrahim on the former's working visit to Singapore on January 30th. On January 31st, Datuk Sri Anwar was reported as saying that Malaysia and Singapore had agreed to hold more detailed negotiations regarding the reclamations carried out in the Batu Putih area. The matter had been raised in a meeting with Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. Datuk Sri Anwar said Malaysia had urged Singapore to examine the reclamations carried out in the Batu Putih area to ensure they were not affecting the environment and the country's borders with Malaysia. During his official visit to Singapore last week, the Prime Minister also touched on several other matters, including a new arrangement to ensure sufficient water supply for the state of Johor and the Republic, the issue of congestion at the Johor Causeway, as well as a matter of airspace control. With the 2023 budget just around the corner, various systemic and systematic problems in the healthcare services must be addressed and reformed. Provost for Research at Malaysia University of Science and Technology, Professor Dr. Jeffrey Williams, said it would be a mistake to spend more on the healthcare system until the systemic management and leadership issues have been resolved.
These involve not just questions of the amount of care, the length of time people are waiting for care, but also they involve the pay, the salary, the terms and conditions of employment for healthcare workers, not just doctors, but also nurses, ambulance staff, and support staff. And of course, they relate to procurement in the health system and the overall spending within the health service, which is subject to quite significant allegations of misappropriation. So it's not always the best idea to throw more money into a system which is clearly not functioning properly.
Apart from this, he noted that the distribution of allocation between the public sector and private healthcare must also be addressed. This after the public healthcare was not able to deal with the demand across the country's population, which led to the people spending a large amount of money on private healthcare. He also stressed that there must be a balanced provision between the public and the private healthcare services and that the amount of money allocated is distributed accordingly. Meanwhile, the Association of Private Hospitals Malaysia, APHM, hopes that the government could increase its spending on healthcare services to develop and retain good human capital, particularly in the public sector. It also expressed hope that the 2023 budget would focus on easing the difficulties faced by the public while receiving treatment either at public or private healthcare facilities.
A budget that can help to ease the current problem that the patients are facing is very important. The short-term gap that we need to look at right now is having a budget that can treat our patients who are currently waiting in emergency departments, both in public and private, because this would be the main important task that we need to look after at this point of time. Of course, in the future, when we have a good white paper that covers healthcare, treatment and finances would be desirable, but for 2023, the budget should be important for patients who require the treatment right now.
He added that healthcare services still need more allocation despite the slowdown in the number of COVID-19 cases. This was due to more non-COVID-19 patients being admitted to hospitals due to lack of treatments received in the past 2 years. The Gillen Centre for Health and Social Policy stressed that the government should maintain, if not increase, its spending on public healthcare in the 2023 budget. Its CEO, Azrul Muhammad Khalib, in a statement on Saturday, warned that any cuts would lead to a collapse of the entire healthcare system that has been buckling under the strain of the COVID-19 pandemic, including the issue of burnout among the country's shrinking medical workforce. He added that any reduction could also reflect the prevalence of non-communicable diseases, ability to provide quality care, number of healthcare professionals leaving the service, and worse, morbidity and mortality data for years to come. He also noted that the entire country's healthcare workforce is currently facing a tough time, with those still working in the sector underpaid, overworked and overstretched. Azrul's warning comes ahead of the Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim administration's plan to retable a revision to the budget in Parliament on February 24th to reflect the country's national debt and liabilities currently amounting to 1.5 trillion ringgit. The Rahmah initiative will soon be expanded to cover 4 new areas of focus, targeting university students, the B40 group, as well as the hardcore poor. These initiatives aimed at assisting those grappling with the rising cost of living are Rahmah Package, Rahmah Cafe, Rahmah Sale and Rahmah Basket. Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Datuk Seri Salahuddin Ayub said the programs, which the ministry is hoping will become a mainstay in the management of the target group, are expected to be launched next month. The ministry had also engaged with several major hypermarkets to provide items for the food basket. The ministry, he said, was also updating the list of the B40 group as it was aware of the possible increase in their number. Statistics provided by the Prime Minister's Department's Implementation Coordination Unit showed to date there are 127,000 Malaysian households categorised as hardcore poor. Currently, the RM5 menu Rahmah meals, launched on January 31st, are available at 15,000 participating eateries nationwide, while the Rahmah Basket program offers basic necessities such as rice, flour, biscuits, sardines and instant noodles valued between RM50 and RM100 each, and recipients will be provided with the essential items once a month. The Rahmah Sale program, meanwhile, offers discounted prices of between 3% and 30% for more than 1,000 items on the premises. The Rahmah Package program involves the same players providing 12 fast-moving consumer goods items, including milk, fruits and vegetables. The 12 items listed are the essentials needed most by the consumers, as reflected in supermarkets' sales records. As for the Rahmah Cafe program, it aims to provide university students with free lunch. Under the initiative, their breakfast and dinner bills will be subsidised by up to 50%. For starters, this program covers 20 public institutions of higher learning in the Klang Valley. Syarikat Pengurusan Air Selangor Sdn Bhd detected high levels of ammonia at 3 main water treatment plants, namely SSP1, SSP2 and SSP3 since 7 a.m. on Thursday. State Infrastructure and Public Amenities, Agriculture, Modernisation and Agro-Based Industry Committee Chairman Isham Hashim said following the detection, the Selangor Water Management Authority had activated Code Yellow based on the Water Source Pollution Emergency Manual, referring to an incident that has the potential to cause disruptions to the water treatment plants. Izham, in a statement, said at the same time, monitoring through water sampling carried out together with other agencies such as Air Selangor and the Environment Department was carried out in several locations, including Sungai Air Hitam, Sungai Nyamuk and Sungai Tinggi. He explained that the Raw Water Guarantee Scheme initiative was immediately activated through the pumping of alternative raw water into Sungai Selangor with a distance of 2 kilometres and 1 hour of flow travel to the mouth of the water treatment plants. He added 500 litres of alternative raw water was pumped daily to Sungai Selangor from the hybrid off-river augmentation system Horas 600 reservoir, followed by the channeling of 384 litres of alternative water daily from the KL Larut Water Resource Pond. He explained that the alternative raw water pumping is aimed at increasing the dilution rate in the river and lower ammonia concentrations. As of Saturday morning, he said 516 million litres of alternative raw water had been channeled to Sungai Selangor and it has successfully controlled and curbed the pollution.
The ASEAN Foreign Ministers AMM retreat in Indonesia ended on Saturday with Myanmar conflict, the agenda of fair cooperation, Islamophobia and regional stability among the issues discussed. Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Zamri Abdul Kadir, who led Malaysia's delegation to Jakarta for the two-day retreat, said ASEAN needs to continue to play a role as an anchor of peace and stability in the region, and prioritise should be placed to protect the interest of ASEAN member countries.
During the discussion on Saturday, the Myanmar conflict once again took the centre stage, with all ministers urging Myanmar's junta to implement a 5-point peace plan agreed 2 years ago to create a path towards ending the country's political crisis. In the meantime, Datuk Sri Zamri said ASEAN will continue to engage with all stakeholders to find a solution without setting a time frame. Datuk Sri Zamri added the good relations that have already been established can be maintained without discriminatory elements and without placing certain conditions on ASEAN. He emphasised this in regards to the European Union's decisions preventing the entry of commodities from the region into their markets with various obstacles and reasons.
Bagaimana bentuk kerjasama ASEAN itu dapat dilaksanakan dengan sebaik-baiknya bagi memastikan sebarang permasalahan yang ada dalam negara-negara anggota itu dapat dibantu dan diselesaikan secara bersama.
At the meeting, Datuk Sri Zamri also invited the member countries to jointly fight Islamophobic sentiments and hatred towards any religion so that existing harmony is maintained.
Still to come on Nightline, 2,000 men nabbed in child marriage crackdown. Stay with us. worsening air pollution in Thailand has forced several schools in Bangkok to close as the fine particulate matter PM 2.5 reading ranged from 54 to 119 per cubic meter. The Education Ministry said coordination centres have been set up to monitor the PM 2.5 situation in several provinces, and schools can exercise discretion in their decisions to close if the dust levels are found to be unsafe. It was also reported that 43 provinces, including Bangkok and its suburbs, remained blanketed in smog on Friday. The Thai Meteorological Department forecasted air pollution in the capital will reduce on Saturday with the arrival of stronger winds to disperse the smog. Indian police have arrested more than 2,000 men who took part in illegal child marriages involving underage girls in Assam, launching the start of a sustained crackdown on the practice. According to the Director General of Police, authorities began the crackdown Thursday evening, arresting 2,169 suspects, which included more than 50 Hindu priests and Muslim clerics. They said girls as young as 12 were still being married off, and that a total of 4,074 cases involving 8,000 men are still being investigated. The legal marriage age in India is 18, but millions of children are forced to tie the knot when they are younger, particularly in poorer rural areas. The two-week police campaign in the northern state began after Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma called on the public to help abolish the evil practice. A huge high-altitude Chinese balloon sailed across the U.S. on Friday, drawing severe Pentagon accusations of spying on sensitive military sites, despite China's firm denials. The Pentagon said the balloon is being used for surveillance, rejecting China's claim that the aircraft is a civilian airship for research that deviated from its course. They added that another Chinese spy balloon has been spotted over Latin America, but does not appear to be currently heading towards the U.S. The balloons did not present a current threat, and the authorities said they will continue to monitor them as they move eastward across the central U.S. and Latin America. The incident also led to the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken cancelling a high-stakes Beijing trip aimed at easing U.S. and China tensions.
It's been there stationary.
In Chile, dozens of raging wildfires claimed at least 13 lives and torched some 14,000 hectares as a summer heatwave swept across the southern hemisphere country. According to authorities, 11 people, including a firefighter, had died in the town of Santa Juana in Biobío, a region some 500 kilometers south of capital Santiago. In another incident, a pilot and a mechanic were also killed while trying to battle the fires as their helicopter crashed in the southern region of Araucania. It was reported that hundreds of homes have been damaged as 39 fires raged across the country. States of catastrophe also have been declared in the farming and forest areas of Biobío and neighbouring Nuble, prompting the deployment of soldiers and additional resources. football, the German Bundesliga. A single goal from Mergim Berisha was enough to give Augsburg a 1-0 win over Bayer Leverkusen. The only goal of the match came 10 minutes into the second half when Berisha headed home Arne Engel's cross. Musa Diaby went closest for Leverkusen to grab a goal, but his effort struck the post after an assist from Jeremy Frimpong. The result saw Augsburg climbing to 13th in the standings, 3 points clear of the relegation zone, while Leverkusen remained 9th. The Australian A-League now. Richard van der Ven's first A-League that hat-trick guided leaders Melbourne City to a 6-1 demolition of the MacArthur Bulls on Saturday.
The goal fest kicked off after just 3 minutes when Melbourne's Jamie McLaren finished off Matthew Leckie's clever pass. Another fine move led to Melbourne's second in the 33rd minute, this time Richard van der Ven, the goal scorer. Van der Ven then found his second of the game 10 minutes later, slotting in Jordan Boss's low cross before Andrew Naboot headed home Melbourne's fourth in the 68th minute following a corner kick. Maudi Najjar pulled one back from MacArthur in the 72nd minute, just for Van der Ven to restore the 4-goal lead for Melbourne in a spectacular way 5 minutes later. McLaren finally put the last nail on MacArthur's coffin 2 minutes before time, sealing an emphatic 6-1 win. With the win, Melbourne strengthened their grip at the top of the standings with 31 points, 8 points above second place Central Coast Mariners.
Police awaits Home Ministry's guidelines on sale of fireworks. This and more after this short break. The Royal Malaysia Police is waiting for policy and guidelines from the Home Ministry regarding the authorisation of burning activities as well as the sale of fireworks and firecrackers. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Akril Sani Abdullah Sani said the police will adhere to whatever guidelines and policies set by the ministry following the implementation of the matter in order to ensure public safety.
Saya baru tahu perkara ini dan saya menunggu apakah dasar daripada Kementerian Dalam Negeri berkaitan dengan pelaksanaan perkara tersebut. Jadi setakat ini saya tidak memberi apa komen mengenainya.
He was met by the media at the Hiking Police Diraja Malaysia bersama Community Peringkat Polis Contingent Kuala Lumpur event at Taman Persekutuan Bukit Kiara. On Friday, it was reported that the burning and selling of fireworks and firecrackers in the country will soon be allowed, subject to new regulations and guidelines which will be issued soon. Local Government Development Minister Nga Kor Ming was reported to have said the matter had been agreed upon in a cabinet meeting this past week as one of the measures that can increase the country's revenue, adding that the government will control its sales activities.
In Selangor, police have arrested 5 individuals, including 4 women, on suspicion of murdering an Indian national whose body was found buried on a hillside behind a bungalow in Subang Jaya on Thursday. Subang Jaya District Police Chief ACP Wan Azlan Wan Mamat said the suspects, aged between 25 and 35, were 2 local women, an Indonesian woman and a woman from India, as well as a male Indian national. All the suspects who worked at an old folks centre were arrested on Thursday and Friday in Subang Jaya. The case was brought to light after a male Indian national confessed to killing his countrymen in May and burying the body behind the bungalow used as an old folks home in Subang Jaya. Following the confession, authorities detained the suspects, including a female Indian national who is the wife of the victim. ACP Wan Azlan said an affair between the suspect and the victim's wife was believed to be the motive behind the murder. The case is being investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code. A husband and wife were killed while their 3 children suffered injuries after the MPV they were riding in lost control before overturning in an accident at kilometre 274 of the LPP 2. The 4 p.m. incident happened near the exit of the Cheneh Toll Plaza in Kemaman, Terengganu.
Kemaman District Police Chief Superintendent Hanyan Ramlan confirmed the identities of the deceased as 47-year-old Arbain Baharudin and his 48-year-old wife Rosmayati Bakar. Their 3 injured children, 20-year-old Farah Najwa, 10-year-old Fatin Najla and 8-year-old Faikal Nabila were rushed to the emergency unit at Kemaman Hospital to receive further treatment. At the time of the incident, the family was travelling from Kuantan to spend the holidays at the home of a relative located in Kampung Gelugur, Kerteh.
Saya dia telah terbabas ke jalan dan kemudian membalas ke belah kanan, berpusing beberapa kali dan kemudiannya berhenti ataupun tersangkut di divider bagi jalan. Kedua-dua mayat suami isteri ini tercampak keluar lebih kurang dalam 5 hingga 10 meter daripada tempat kejadian.
He added that further investigations are being carried out to ascertain the cause of the incident. The bodies were taken to the Kemaman Hospital's forensic unit for post-mortem. The case is being investigated under Section 41, Subsection 1 of the Road Transport Act.
After a 2-year hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Singapore's Lunar New Year parade bounced back to life on Friday with floats and costumes inspired by this year's Chinese zodiac, the rabbit. Held annually, Chingay has its roots in processions held to honour deities tracing back to mainland China. Let's take a look at the modern rendition of the parade as we wrap up Nightline this time around. I'm Nadia Azmi. Thank you for watching and stay safe.